Hey, Care Bears! I'm back, and I'm with another video. So, today's video is all about fairy tales. Now, disclaimer, I do not own this fairy tale movie. I'm just talking about it. This video is for my fairy tale theme class. Yeah, that's it. So, let's talk about, first off, there are millions of fairy tales out there that we just look at. We never really get in depth into the fairy tale. So, we're going to pick an adaptation of a fairy tale and get more in depth in it and look at a deeper meaning of the fairy tale. Fairy tales have many tropes, and they have many themes, and they have many meanings. So for my class, I picked my favorite movie. Drum roll, please. Descendants! If you don't know what Descendants is a Disney movie. I think it came out in 2015. There's 3 movies. Descendants is about villain children moving to this place called Oregon, where it's all the fancy people and all the good characters in the fairy tale books that we know about. And it's them getting the chance to be good. So, let's get this video started and me explaining a little bit more what I'm talking about. Excuse me. Seriously. Sorry. Hello. So, Descendants is a Disney movie about the next generation of fairy tale kids. But the twist is the main characters are the villain kids. Maleficent's daughter, Mel. Jafar's son, Jay. Cruella de Vil's son, Carlos. And the evil queen from Sleeping Beauty's daughter, Evie. So, this is a very nice movie. It's really cute. Kids love it. Beautiful music. Good plot line. Great dances. Take your kids to watch. Show the kids the movie. It's the best. But we're not here to talk about the plot of the movie. We're here to analyze the movie a little bit deeper. Let's pull this movie and analyze it. What we're analyzing in this movie is classism. First, what is classism? Classism means prejudice against or in favor of people belonging to a particular social class. Why am I picking classism to analyze this movie? Well, we're analyzing this one with classism just because this movie shows a lot of classism in the DL, basically. Okay. And there's a lot of stereotypes, of fairy tale stereotypes, especially in this movie. So there are 2 big settings that we're going to talk about in this movie. The Isle of the Lost, where the villain kids are born and raised and where all the villains live. And Oregon, where all the fairy tale characters of Sleeping Beauty and Ariel and Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast, who are the king and the queen of Oregon, live. The settings itself shows classism. Oregon is shown as something as a loving, full green grass, fresh food, very clean place. But when we see the Isle of the Lost, we see people sleeping on the street, kids digging through trash, eating rotten apples, people stealing, kids wearing baggy clothes with holes, and like they're really, really poor and have nothing in life. It's sad. So you so that right there shows that there's a class. Oregon is high class, and the Iota Lost people are the low class. This is also shown when the forming villain kids get into the limo to go to Oregon and they find chocolate. Now, to me and you, chocolate seems like no big deal, but to them, they've never tasted something sweet. They've never had that. So when they eat the chocolate, they're like going crazy. Or when they bite into an apple, they're so shocked of how red it is and how round it is because they only have rotten stuff. Now, let's talk a little bit about stereotypes that's in this movie. So, because the villain kids are from what's considered the low class area, the Iota laws, they get treated like they're dumb. One, because the IO doesn't have a real education system. Like in Oregon, Oregon has a big school called Oregon Prep. The IO does not. So they get treated like they're dumb. And in one of the scenes, Evie is in class and she's told that she's cheating with a magic mirror. Now, yes, in the beginning of the story, she does. But at this point, she gets caught, she wasn't cheating. And what happens is the teacher, instead of asking, just takes the mirror and gives her a question to answer. Now, everybody's expecting her to fail this question, but what does happen is she answers it perfectly fine. And she breaks the stereotype as kids in the IO are dumb and are not educated because she is smart. And you see that even more throughout the movie because she comes up with a lot of scientific method ways to solve things. Now let's see, what else are we going to talk about? Oh, there's also the idea that when we talk about classism, there's a level where you can marry into. In most fairy tales, they want you to marry into royalty. So the prince marries a princess. And that's what it is. You don't really marry lower. And if you do marry lower, you end up tending to forget about the class you're in. So in Descendants, there's this problem when Beauty and the Beast, their son, Ben, starts dating Maleficent's daughter, Mel, and breaks up with Sleeping Beauty's daughter, Audrey. They want him back together with Audrey because Audrey was raised in Oregon, or could be seen as Audrey was raised in the same environment he was raised. Educated, high class, well money, well bred. While Mel was raised on the lower class area. So a lot of people look down on him for this and he gets shunned. But he's a future king, so they don't really bash him as her. She gets the backlash more. But this is normal because in fairy tales you do normally end up with some royalty dating royalty or dating middle class. You don't really see super poor class getting dated because like any princess fairy tale with the princess is not low class, sleeping on a sleep spore. She has a house, or she's just a maid in her own house, or she was already a pre-princess. So that's Descendants movie 1. Let's talk about Descendants 2. Now I love Descendants 2. Now in Descendants 2, we see the villain kids have a change. They've been in Oregon for about a year now. They've learned how to be what they consider high class and well trained and well taught. They've learned how, so they most of the kids are content and happy with this new life they're living, but Mel is not. Mel feels like she's not herself. Mel's dating the future king of Oregon, and she's in the spotlight, and everybody wants her to be something, to be this pretty proper princess, and forget that she's a villain kid. And a lot of fairy tales look at that. They forget that you were a lower class than the higher class. But Mel refuses to forget that and goes back home to die of the laws. What's really interesting is that when she goes back home, her friends come to save her. Why are we saving a character from the place they were born and raised in? The reason they consider this saving her is because she's going back to the lower class area. They feel like it's almost like if she's relapsing to a spot where they don't consider is okay. But she was born and raised there. Her family's there. We find out her father is there. Ow, what are you saving her from? And then we did a little deeper into that whole saving her idea. It shows the stereotype of what they feel and they made the people in Oregon classified as evil. Because was the villains really evil for what they did? Putting curses, putting spells, maybe a little excessive, but were they evil because, or condemned to live in a life on an island because they had reasons to do something for themselves? So they've been harmed or hurt in a way, and this is how they retaliate? Well, that's an interesting question to come across in another video. Now, this will make you wonder, why write a fairy tale in this type of format? Why write a fairy tale holding classism, holding stereotypes, without really pointing that out completely? Well, the answer is in the fairy tale trope and the audience. First off, fairy tale trope is like a theme. So the trope of this fairy tale is what is good and what is evil. And the audience is teenagers. Because let's be honest, at this point in time, teenagers are going through exactly what the kids in the movie are going through, who they are, trying to figure out what they want to be, where they want to go in life, figure out what's going on, understand where they're from. No matter what class you're in, all teens go through this. Sorry guys, type exhausted. So the thing is, teens in higher class areas have a quicker opportunity and privilege to get what they want and figure it out. Teens in lower class can dream all they want, but has a harder chance to achieve their dreams. And this point is made throughout the movie. And then the movie also try to make a great point about no matter what class you're from, it doesn't matter. It matters how you choose to live, how you choose to fight and believe in who you are, and how you choose to break the stereotypes and classism that they're showing you. And they do a great job at finally summing this up in Descendants 3. In Descendants 3, sorry about that. Sorry guys, kind of threw me off. They do a great job at this in Descendants 3 because in Descendants 3, we actually see a twist. The good characters, or as we know, turn into the bad characters. So Sleeping Beauty's daughter, Audrey, turns into the villain. Sleeping Beauty's daughter's Audrey is the bad guy. But the good guys are the villain kids. Now that's a twist because the villain kids are supposed to be the bad guys, right? Because they're villain kids and they were born in a lower class and that's how they were expected. That's the stereotype they were put in. That's the group they were labeled. And Audrey was high class and she was born prim and proper princess. I've said this part before. And she was expected to be perfect. But the twist is she's not. And the way the villain kids save the day is not with what they learned from the high class area of Oregon and the good classes they had to take and the learning they had to do. No. The way they learned it is by putting together what they learned from where they lived on the Isle and what they learned in Oregon and smashing these classes together and breaking what they were told and they were supposed to do more and to save the day. And they even saved Princess Audrey. And she was the bad guy. But this causes them to see that there's a hierarchy and there's a classism in this story, causing them to break what's around the Isle of the Lost, a barrier, so that all the kids can get an opportunity to decide, do you want to be good or do you want to do something bad? That decision at the end of the day is on you, and you have to choose between what is good and what is bad to yourself. That's something nobody can tell you. So I'm going to wrap up my video saying that Descendants 1, 2, and 3 has a very deep meaning. They follow a lot of fairy tale rules of there's the good guy, there's a bad guy, but they just flip the roles of who's who. They follow the fairy tale rules of what goes on with magic, how magic is used. There's objects. Magic just doesn't pop out of nowhere. There's objects that magic gets used with. They follow the story. They follow all the fairy tale rules correctly. They just flipped it all from the good guys doing it to the bad guys doing it. It's not that bad. This also causes the audience to think about what's right and wrong. Teens will have to sit there and probably contemplate on, okay, why did they do it this way and not the good guys or what's supposedly the good guys? They'll think about it. They'll also think about the classes. If they really can see the classism in it, they'll probably be able to see it and then start seeing it in their real life of where they're at and compared to other people and what stereotypes that they're being forced to be in and figure out a way to break them. I feel like Descendants had a very deeper meaning than it's a fairy tale. And I think it's one of the deeper meaning is breaking classism and breaking stereotypes. So, what do you think if you've seen the movie? And, well, what do you think if you see the movie? Do you see stereotypes? Do you see classism? Or is there something else in there that I didn't see that you see? Or am I just reading way too into it and it's just a fairy tale? See you guys. Can't wait to see you next time. I have more videos coming.